Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you a little something different, but it's still concerning the Valiant. It's only temporarily. I have to replace the rear seal on the rear end on the right behind the yoke, and this is the one that if you've got a slant 6 rear end 7 1/4, this is what you'll need. Let's see here, national seal 8516N. I don't know why they put 1373 on the wrote 1373 on the box, but here's another set of numbers if you want to look at those. Let me focus. There we go. Anyway, there's that. I got to replace that. Probably do that tomorrow morning, unless it's raining. Also had to run into a little bit of a snag at O'Reilly's. They had a heck of a time trying to find basic slant 6 universal joints. So luckily I brought the old one in. Went with Precision instead of the super cheap ones that they have. I can't remember what those are called. Anyway, here's the part number for them. Yeah, it sucks. It says made in China, but there's the yellow one. You'll need 2 of these. These fit anywhere from the 60s, 70s, and early 80s A-bodies with slant 6s. And here's something you won't see on the Precisions anymore. USA. Anyway, if you remember in the last video, I talked about how I was going to figure out which drive shaft was going to be used with what car, whether it be the Dodge Dart or the Valiant. And I did some measuring the other day, mocking them up. The longer, wider drive shaft that came out of the Dart is going to stay with the Dart. I'll run that with the slant 6 until I get the V8 and stuff in there, and then I'm probably have a better quality drive shaft built for it. But the drive shaft that came with the 1970 Plymouth Duster 904 transmission interchanges with this car right here. All I needed to do was replace the universal joints, and I've got several front yokes laying around. You know, I've got the ones that have got the really long snout, and then I got a couple short ones. Well, luckily I didn't have to use the long one, and I went with the original one that came on the drive shaft. And as you remember, several videos back, sometime last year I believe it was, I cleaned the drive shaft up. It was pretty nasty. Sanded it and then painted it in Rust-Oleum gloss black, Rust-Oleum white, but I did it kind of like a barber's pole theme to it, like a stripe theme to it, just for whatever, you know, just being, you know, something to do. Anyway, let me go ahead and get down here and show you. Like I said, this is only temporary I should say, in here. It's got the new universal joints on it. I got to put that front seal, or I should say the rear transmission seal. I got a new one for the transmission to put on the back, but like I said, the drive shaft is only in there temporarily, so I can get that seal on the rear end replaced. I'm going to do a separate video on that, on how to without tearing the rear end apart, to replace that seal. I was told, and I checked with several other people, as long as you leave the tires on the ground and you can angle that pinion at an angle, and then put the keepers back on that keep the universal joint in place, and then run a thick pipe down at an angle and have it facing whatever way that center bolt that you have to take off to get to take the yoke off. You're going to want it to go in the same direction that you're using your breaker bar or your long extension ratchet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark on the bolt with a contractor white or paint pen, and I'm going to mark it on the housing itself, and then on the outside of the socket, the 6-sided socket I'm going to use, I'm going to mark the same location on the socket, so that way every time it makes a full turn and returns back to the same position, I'll have a piece of paper here on a notepad or whatever, and I'll mark it like 1, and I'll keep doing it until the bolt comes off, and then that way I'll have it written down how many times it has to be put or rotated back on. And then I'm going to use some type of thread locker. But yeah, that's how I'm going to do that. And I got to weld, since I have the new patch plate in here on the floor, I got to weld that emergency cable bracket back to the floor in its original position. As you already know, I got the new cross member on there with the new bush or rubber mount and all that in there. Yeah, just some odds and ends, and it sits up a little high right now because the car is still resting somewhat on the floor jacks. I'll take the floor jacks out and see how high the rear end sits, and I might have to take them extra heavy duty coilover Midas shocks off that somebody else put on there for towing a trailer with on this car. I don't know why they bothered to do that. It was just dumb. And the way they positioned the hitch on the car was just stupid. But anyway, if that doesn't work, and then I got a pair of stock new replacement KYB shocks I'll put on the back of this and see if it makes a difference in the stance, because this does has stock leaf springs, but I did put all new polyurethane bushings front and back in this. That's what I'm gonna be doing to the front. Before too long, I'm gonna be buying the parts for the front and getting the front end rebuilt. But anyway, let me take this light off of here. There we go. But anyway, and the wheels are only on there temporarily because I still got to get the brake spring kit for the brake shoes, and I got to get brake shoes front and back for this, so bear with me on that. Today's Tuesday, so Friday I get paid again. This check should be a little more than the last one. We had some bills we had to take care of out of the last one, but since we're caught up and I got those other income tax check return and my last year's end of the year bonus stuff, that really bumped us up on getting us caught up on a lot of the stuff on the project vehicles. I've already been driving my truck back and forth to work and in town. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling on long enough, but stay tuned and we'll definitely have more content for you. And I'm going to try to get back and forth. We're going to try to get this Jeep running too, because we're going to have a couple different backup vehicles instead of putting all the stress on my folks' pickup. And we'll go from there. Until next time.